Are you living the daydream yet? Are you living the daydream? Are you living the daydream now? You say you have a shaking faith. Cry and cover up your face. I don't want to watch you die. So listen up and start to fly. Living a daydream where angels light the weary eye. The daydream will finally bring you to the light. Daydream, it's not the way that everybody tries. Daydream.
A common fantasy in sci-fi movies is that when humanity is attacked by an outside force, we dispense with our differences and band together to fight the enemy. But when that force is our collective behavior, the enemy can't simply be defined. We are in desperate need of commonality, which we will find only through constant education, not by relying on governments for answers. We are aware of the causes of rapid climate change, but greed and the lack of unified, committed global engagement to fix it has hamstrung us all. And now we are choking on that greed. It is at once familiar, yet bizarre.
Hello. Do you copy me? What do you see from up there? Hello.
I see quite a mess.
Civilization, they say, is the term used to describe a complex human society in which the social and material conditions of life are made possible by scientific and technical progress, and created by politics and the economy. Historically, civilization has usually been understood as a larger and more advanced culture. There lies the idea of seeing civilization as the opposite of the term barbarism. In this way, one was then able to characterize all other societies as uncivilized. The process of civilization is described as civilizing.
Hold on, and think. In general, it can be said that civilization centralizes power to a few people, expanding its control over other men and nature. And almost all civilizations also have an ideology that includes a belief in progress. I want to tell about a time when no one has to go hungry, and people can live in freedom. Where there is dialogue instead of violence. Where there is no exploitation and no poverty. Where there are plowshares instead of swords. Where there are peace zones instead of comfort zones. Let me talk about this time that never existed before.
The dwarf looked very sad and he had teardrops in his eyes. So the rhythm stopped. One of the others who were also dancing around the fire stepped forward and said, "Don't stop beating the drum. It's not our fault." But the dwarf laughed loudly and began to sing.
Justice is said to be a human virtue and thus a measure of individual human behavior. But no human being can claim to act justly at all times and from all points of view. Thus, in the Middle Ages, the view prevailed that justice was not a human, but a divine quantity. According to this view, justice could only exist in heaven, and not on earth. Later, with the beginning of the Renaissance, divine justice was replaced by the idea of natural law. It was believed that, in principle, justice is already inherent in nature and that man must strive to realize this justice. Against this, the philosopher Immanuel Kant formulated his ethics of reason from the position of the Enlightenment. Divine or natural justice are not reasonable categories. Since the Enlightenment, people think they are reasonable.
The dwarf laughed bitterly.
It has been shown that humans are rational utility maximizers who always know what is best for them, and therefore act accordingly.
And so, people lurched from the economic miracle into a belief in progress and prosperity, and now they are stuck with a belief in the truth of science, added another dwarf. And they always refer to the beautiful, moving and colorful images, said a third.
Today they still hang on to these black mirrors,
said the old dwarf.
But they look at and marvel at themselves, try out their own identities. But always well behaved in their own bubble. They don't think about the fact that there are others with needs.
The dwarf was really sad.
Now, they are occupied by taking care of one's own image.
Later, when the fire was still fanning, the dwarf hummed the second verse of the song.
The idea of intersecting food and conflict as a fundamental concept for creating works of art was born on a trip to the Middle East in 2010 by artist Omar Castañeda and film producer Monica Rubio. After returning to London, they experimented with various iterations of the idea. Finally, in association with VFX artist Hernan Barros, Food of War was born. Alongside curator Olga Pastor, Barros and Castañeda wrote the manifesto, and several artists joined, each bringing their own input through their particular backgrounds, disciplines, and political motivations. Quintina Valero, Simón Matar, Zinaida, and Carolina Muñoz were some of the artists that joined the first cycles, followed by others including Andreina Fuentes, Juan Cabello, and José Ismael Manco. Core of the relationship between food and conflict can be summed up in one word: power. Wherever there is a power struggle, either at the heart of a family or between the colliding forces of a war, food is always profoundly involved in the equation, thus making the reach of Food of War relevant to many difficult contemporary issues of our society. After the launch of Food of War at BSMT Space in East London, projects all over the world followed, travelling to Ukraine, Germany, Spain, Peru, Mexico, Colombia, and other latitudes taught the artists the benefits of not only collaborating with each other, but also of interacting with local artists and new talent in each showcase. Food also turned out to be a key element to build bridges and to help audiences to let their guard down. The collective soon noticed that when using food as part of the aesthetic experience, the level of engagement with their viewers rocketed. Taking a piece of art and ingesting it makes the connection with art more intense. The artwork itself is inside your own body in a most intimate interaction that goes beyond the perception mediated by any of the other four senses, therefore turning that exchange between artist, artwork and viewer into a ritual closer to a sacred communion. Currently, the collective is directing its future projects towards immersive gastronomy experiences revolving around pressing matters of the complex geopolitical landscape we live in. It is also making a transition into a charitable, incorporated organisation able to direct its profits to make art more accessible to wider audiences and supporting artists of all backgrounds. Because if we are what we eat, then we all are food of war.
Your body will learn its food. Is not life more than food? The food your body will learn. Hear my voice. I come and eat.